What's up, everybody? Jeff in Control Robinson here, and we have a really special segment. We're going to talk a lot about the EMP Museum here in Seattle, but I'm joined by Brooks. Brooks, you are a what are you at EMP?
A lot of my coworkers ask that. I am a curator at EMP. We have 3 curators. I specialize in science fiction at the museum, so I've done exhibits on everything from Battlestar Galactica to Avatar to Blade Runner, you name it.
Oh my God! Well, so you have one of my dream jobs.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, do people come to you and they're like, "We want to do an exhibit on Blade Runner," and then you curate the content that goes in, or are you actually one of the people that submits this idea as well?
It works both ways. So for Battlestar, it was really funny because after the new, the reboot series wrapped up, NBC Universal called us up and they're like, "Hey, we have these spaceships. Do you want to show them? Otherwise, we're going to throw them away."
No,
so,
they
yeah,
said that?
Yeah, at the time they didn't. I mean, they came to their senses, but
They could at least sell them to
yeah.
make some money.
Well, it's funny. They tried to sell them, and people want to own them, but they don't have the space for them because these are life-size, like 2 Vipers, a Cylon Raider, life-size
When you say spaceship, you mean the ones they hopped into?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So these are like aircraft. So we're of course like, sure, we'll take your spaceships, and then I had the job to build an exhibit around that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So right now, guys, again, EMP is downtown Seattle. It's a real place you can go to. You guys have a couple cool exhibits that are, I think, very topical for what we're doing here. One being Star Trek. That's what an endeavor. That's a big deal.
Star Trek opens up on May 21st of this year.
So it's coming up.
And we're doing a big exhibition in honor of the 50th anniversary of the show's original started out in 1966. We're working with CBS on that. And that show is going to have about 100 different objects on display. So
are you allowed to tease? Okay.
Oh, totally.
Okay.
I'm
good.
You will not be able to shut me up about it.
Okay, good. Well, there's some people out here that would like you to not shut up about it, please.
Yeah. Any Star Trek folks? Yes.
Well, I know one of the guys running our booth, actually, Brian, is a gigantic Star Trek fan.
Sweet.
So you said costumes. Are we talking like dating back to the original show and stuff like that?
Original series, all the series. I've got a costume for every captain from every series, plus a bunch of others. One of my favorites is the Gorn mask and his like disco tunic and his gloves from the original series. We also have these filmy miniatures, so another kind of spaceship, but like the Enterprise E, 11 feet long.
11 feet long.
Yeah, so not as big as a Viper, but
no,
quite cool. And props, a full set of the handheld props from the original series: the communicator, the phaser, the tricorder, the classic things. And parts of it that really excite me, we're going to have Captain Kirk's command chair. So this is the original command chair that William Shatner sat in for 3 years.
William Shatner's butt has sat in that chair.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And also the big control console that Chekhov and Sulu worked at.
Where you can never give enough power at that stage.
Right.
Or you're giving all she got, actually, as it were.
All she got.
So what do you? I mean, maybe you just said it, but is there anything in there that you think is the kind of the haymaker? This is what people are going to come and see. Is there a big, or maybe you don't want to reveal that now? What do you think?
Sure. I will like say.
Let's do it.
I will tell all. We have both Khan costumes. So we have Ricardo Montalban's costume from Wrath of Khan, which is the sort of all torn up crazy thing with the amulet and stuff. And then we have a Benedict Cumberbatch Khan costume. The one he wore on Klingon when he's like kicking Klingon butt all over the place. And those are going to be paired side by side, so you can sort of check out the back then and now. They're really sweet costumes.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about Star Trek too, is it spans so many generations and so much time. Like with J.J. Abrams doing it now, we have a very kind of contemporary look at Star Trek, but it goes back to, is it the 50s when it started?
Started first aired in 1966.
66.
And as Star Trek evolves, it constantly evolves.
Yeah.
And what we see today, what Abrams is doing today, is a pretty different animal from what it was in the past. And the exhibit, among other things, is trying to capture that flow of how Star Trek has changed, but also how Star Trek has impacted our culture and our popular culture. So just one example, everyone, there's that phrase, beam me up, right? Everyone knows it.
It's universal.
You see it all the time, yeah. So some fans on IMDb are trying to record every instance of another TV show or another movie or something like that using Beam Me Up to reference Star Trek, right? And currently the list is 98 screens long. I mean, it's thousands upon thousands.
Screens.
Yeah.
Jeez. And that's really cool, too, because that actually spans so many genres. It's like you said, it's everywhere.
Totally. I mean, you watch Breaking Bad, and suddenly they'll just stop and start talking about Star Trek. This is Breaking Bad. What are you doing? But But Star Trek is universal. That's what I really
Part
believe.
of our culture.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
for the exhibit then, for a lot of people that perhaps have not been through EMP, I mean, we're not talking about just a couple of rooms with these displays up, are we? Or how much of the space is taken up by Star Trek for this instance?
The exhibit itself is 5,000 square feet,
Yeah.
and it's in this big space with a 40-foot ceiling. So there's a ground floor with a lot of objects and casework and things, and then a mezzanine. And so we hung the spaceships, the Foamian miniatures, up there. We have Deep Space Nine, by the way.
Very
It's
cool.
Beautiful. It's 6 feet wide. It's a beautiful model, along with some other Enterprises and things. So you can sort of see them from below and check them out, and then go up on the mezzanine and see them. And we really try and create super immersive environments in our exhibitions. So we're not just sort of putting boxes down and putting a thing in it and saying, here it is. We're trying to build a sense of Star Trek. So we're honestly, some of our staff have been spending months carving foam rocks and painting them red to look like classic Trek sets.
You guys even do lighting, as I understand. Like when I went through there for, I believe it was the Jimi Hendrix and Kurt Cobain kind of exhibits, I felt like I was being transported to that time too. It's not just literally the displays themselves, but the entire kind of area becomes about that.
Yeah,
too,
I mean, design, sound, lighting, we really want to put you in the place of it. Yeah, can I tell you about one other artifact that
I would like
that
you
I
to.
totally
I
love?
would like you to do that.
So this is, oops, I'm losing it. This
Tie it in.
is a print of Data's painting of Spot. Okay, a little obscure, but a local collector happened to have it. I was like, I must show it. So there it is. And we made prints of these too that you can buy.
Very, very cool. So that'll be later in May, right? But that's not all that you guys do. I know that there's another exhibit that you are, I believe, currently doing right now, right, on indie games. Is that true?
We have a standing exhibit, Indie Game Revolution, we call it, and it's a gallery that features a rotating slate of 20 indie video games.
Yeah.
And they really range from even like Twine games to some pretty sophisticated things. What's nice is we've started to develop relationships with developers, and they'll give us alphas and pre-releases and things. So, for instance, we had Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time installed months before it came out. Some of my other favorites, we had Nidhogg. That game, which is a great couples game, believe it or not.
Oh my God!
Because you're just killing each other and you get all your frustrations out.
We were just playing that last night with a couple of guests, and it was incredible. What what grabbed your eye about indie games to make a display?
Well, our audience is a lot of tourists, and it's a general population of audiences. So for them, unlike say these cool folks, the idea of an indie game like an independent film is kind of new, and we wanted to show them that the breadth of creativity in games and the subject matter and the artwork and just what can be done with a video game is much broader than they might have imagined if they're just used to thinking about gaming in a more narrow thing like, oh, it's that Nintendo thing or something. So when you have games that talk about child abuse, or when you have games that are talking about love and loss or stabbing each other constantly with foils, it opens their eyes a little bit.
It's a mega interesting medium because, like you said, it can kind of tackle really disturbing and interesting kind of concepts in game form, but also Nerdhogg is kind of a good example where it's just like, it's literally two almost stick figures stabbing each other with a sword.
Yeah, but just ridiculously fun.
Yeah.
Because of that.
And you laugh because you can actually rip a guy's head off too. Like that too. So, going more into EMP, I actually made the mistake too before the cameras being rolled, guys. When it went live, because I am a Seattle native, it was the Experience Music Project. To me, it was that weird building downtown that looks different from absolutely everything else. But now it's just EMP, and it's in, like you said, is it kind of more sci-fi geared, or is it? What would you talk about the aim of it?
So when EMP started, Experience Music Project, all about popular culture. Sorry, all about popular music. I'm getting ahead of myself. And over the years, the museum has evolved toward a much broader viewpoint where we are just about popular culture, especially, I gotta say, nerd culture. So we have a standing horror gallery. We have a fantasy gallery, beautiful fantasy gallery with things like Princess Bride costumes and Inigo Montoya's sword and things like that. A science fiction gallery called Infinite Worlds of Science Fiction, which looks at the whole genre. And we do things like Battlestar and like Star Trek. But we also look at indie games, and we've done Lego shows, and we do fashion shows. The net we cast out around broad pop culture is pretty broad, and that's the way we like it.
Okay. Well, I mean, that sounds right up my alley. Actually, this is a pretty good advertisement because for me, I'm like, I want to go again.
Come on down. We are at the base of the Space Needle. Oh, I got to say,
Do it.
ECCC
Yes.
folks, show up with your badge to EMP from now until May 10. You get $5 off admission. So hang on to this badge. $5 off.
Not a bad deal. Opening other doors as well. So before we let you go, kind of, is there any other things coming to EMP you can tease or talk about, or any ideas you've got kicking around in there that you want to see? I mean, we just talked about Star Trek. That's a big deal, but
That's a big
what
one.
happens after Star Trek? What are you thinking?
After Star Trek,
I put you on the spot here, by
Yeah,
the way.
yeah,
I did not
yeah.
prep you for this question. I like it.
we have another show coming up called World of Wearable Art. And this is a bit of a departure for us. This is a show from New Zealand where it's beyond fashion. It is like crazy artworks that are worn on your body. One of them is all made from old car parts, for example. Super
Summer
weird
wear. That's
show.
good, comfortable wear.
Yeah, yeah. It's like doing base camp while you're just walking down the street.
Very cool. Okay, so all kinds of cool stuff coming up, guys. And like you said, a little bit of alternative culture, sci-fi-ish type stuff that they already have going on there as well. So, Brooks, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
coming
much.
on. Really
Thank you, Jeff.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Guys, definitely check out EMP. Thank you very much.